I knew nothing about this when I first started. The reason I got into OGs was I had retired and I had tried several multi-levels, and it broke my heart because the owners of the multi-level ultimately cheated and weren't telling us the truth, and we didn't want to work for people who weren't honest with us to begin with. So I tried that 3 times, and after the 3rd time I said, okay, that's it. I will never do multi-level again. So then I sat around and said, what am I going to do? You know, I have all this energy and I'm retired and I want to do something beneficial if possible. So you just put the thought out and something will come. Knock and the door will be opened. So I ran on the internet into a guy by the name of Croft out of Oregon, who was making Dixie cups and OGs.
I have one here.
Yeah. And
he called it Buster or something.
Yeah, Tower Busters.
Okay.
So the reason I use Dixie cups is it's just a convenient and an easy way for me to get paper cups by the thousands from Costco. And I just need a container to contain what I put in here, because then I'm going to throw them into the bushes or into a water ditch or wherever. So the outside or what it looks like doesn't matter. It's what you put inside. So I got on the phone and I phoned Don in Oregon, and he told me that, you know, just go and get some resin, some industrial resin, cheap industrial resin, and go get some crystals. And if you can't afford crystals, just go down by a riverbank and you will find rocks that are crystallized, natural, and that'll work. They don't have to be nice 6-pointed crystals that you buy in the store. As long as the crystalline quality is high enough, it'll work, you know. And find some metal, and if you can't find metal, go get some scrubbies. Go to the dollar store and buy some scrubbies, copper scrubbies, and cut them up into metal pieces, and there's your metal. Put some crystals, some rocks in there, and let it harden, and you've got a functioning orgone generator. Huck it next to a cell phone tower, and you don't have to be right up against it. You can be 300, 400, 500 yards away from it, actually.
Is that what you've been doing for years?
Pardon? Yeah. So that's what I did for 3 years. And that's where I got into trouble with the cops, remember? I was telling you the story?
Yeah.
But I was still in fear. I didn't know any about this stuff, you know. So I'm out at night digging little holes, putting my Dixie cups in there. You don't have to do any of that anymore. You know, just huck it. Now I have about 20 or 30 in the trunk of my car all the time. When I see a new tower and I drive by and I have a chance, I just park on the side of the road and I open the trunk and I grab one and huck it into the bushes nearby. And so those of us who make OGs, we gift all the time. So I did that for 3 years, and it was starting to cost me money, you know. And I thought, well, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, you know. What am I going to do? And he said, why don't you make them artistically, aesthetically pleasing, and then people can have them inside the house, and they would have the benefit too, because they don't only work outside near cell phone tower. There's all kinds of negative stuff happening in our environment that if we have something pleasant to look at and have a few of them scattered around the house, we can benefit from that. And I said, okay, I'm off and running. So now I had to teach myself how to make them aesthetically pleasing.
Be artistic.
Yeah.
Creative. Yeah.
And that you only learn by making mistakes. But you can never make a mistake with an OG that you can say, oh, this is a total disaster. There's no such thing when you make an OG. If it's a total disaster and it's not pleasing and it's ugly looking and then cracked or whatever, throw it into the trash bin, and they'll take it to the dump, and it will do good work in the trash fill. Because the birds are there. Okay? So the energy, you cannot stop the energy, and it's not dependent on how beautiful it looks. The energy is energy. The orgone energy will give off this good energy. And the eagles and the birds that are hanging out at the trash fill, at the landfill, they love the energy too, you know. So there's never a wipeout with an OG. That's the nice thing about it, you know. But people, they want perfection. It's got to look perfect. Well, are you perfect? You know,
And none of them looks the same, right?
No.
Every single one of them is unique.
Yeah, the fact that they're handmade, even though you use the same mold, see, here's the same mold, but totally different. And I broke my favorite mold the other day, I told you. Oh, I could have wept. You get so attached to certain molds because the feeling, you know, it always comes out perfectly. No matter what you do, it will give you a glass smooth. And through my own stupidity, my own impatience, I broke it. It's my own fault. And I don't think I'll ever be able to replace that particular one. I may find something else, I may not. But anyway, I had it for about...
Do you think that over time you've developed a way to make them more powerful rather than just aesthetically pleasing?
It works on the same principle as the concert pianist. When he starts out, he's not so good. But with practice and perfection and persistence, he ends up becoming a concert pianist. And not that I'm comparing myself to a concert pianist, but the analogy of practice, learning from your mistakes over the years. You learn new things to put in there, some new crystals, some new way of winding them, finer metal. Your intentions become more concentrated.
Do you feel like you're being guided?
Yeah, I think so. But it's not an obvious sort of guidance. I can't tell you that I hear a voice in my head to do this and so on. I just know that I ask for guidance. I ask to be centered when I start working with that. And I also know when it's not working for me, and then I walk away from it. I know from experience, okay, today I cannot make an OG because there's something going on. And if I persist, I will rue it, I will regret it. So from experience, I know certain days I won't work trying to make an OG. And that comes from experience, you know.
You mentioned this, but how many in total have you been making for the past 17 years? Roughly. I know there's not an accurate number, but...
You know, I stopped counting at about 25,000.
Okay, that's big.
And
so that's when? How many years ago?
I started in 2003, I think.
Okay, 16 years ago.
Yeah. And I know they've gone all over the world. And it would have been interesting to try to have a world map and stick a pin in where you know that somebody has taken them or sent them to a friend. Or I know people have taken them to Beijing and to a number of cities in China and Taiwan and Tokyo, in the Far East, the Philippines, and all over Europe, Switzerland, Germany, mostly in Europe. People who come over here and visit Canada, you know, they're looking for what can we take back as a present, as a gift for someone. They walk into a metaphysical store and they see OGs and say, oh, when they find out that they're good for babies to grandparents as a gift, you know, as an energy device, they buy OGs because it's a unique gift.